All right, so you've been trading for a while now, a few months maybe even a few years. But let me ask you this and be honest with yourself. Are you actually seeing any results? And if not, why? Now, the reason why I ask this is because, as a background, my name is Brian and I used to work as a senior multi-asset dealer at a broker. And I've had clients come up to me who are like 50, 60, 70 years old, and they're telling me, Brian, I've been trading for 30, 40 years now. That's a lot under my belt. Take a look at this strategy that I found, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, wow, 30, 40 years, that's crazy. But then I would look at their statements and then I'd see that they would be losing money every single month. So then I realized that, hey, it doesn't matter how much time you spend in the markets because you could just be wasting that time. Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna give you 2 tips and tricks and 2 habits for you to ingrain in your life right now to make sure that you don't fall into that loop of wasting your time. All right, the first tip and trick and the first habit is structure. Do you have a structured approach in terms of trading as a whole, not strategy? What I mean by that? Now, strategy is important, yes, because that's what gives you your analysis, that's what gives you your execution, and yada yada. But that one is, I wouldn't say it's negligible, but it is very, very secondary to your structure and your system. Because the structure as a whole has to be mechanical. Okay, the trading strategy doesn't have to be mechanical. It can be discretionary, right? Mechanical meaning, oh, it's very obvious, step 1, step 2, step 3. I teach it to a baby and she will know how to trade. But the system, what I mean by that is, how do you approach trading every single weekday and every single weekend? That's what I want to know. Okay, so every single weekend, you would need to do at least 1 session of ASR. What is ASR? ASR stands for Advanced Self-Reflection, which allows you to look at the entire week as a whole and then be really honest with yourself to tell yourself, how did I perform and did I perform the best that I could? That's what ASR is. Okay? So with that ASR, I need you to be able to journal or at least write down some notes, right, throughout the day, throughout the week, to be able to use in that ASR. Okay? Now, the ASR is only valid if you are honest with yourself. Because if you're capping, if you're lying to yourself to stroke your ego, that data is not useful. It's the same as backtesting. If in every backtest you lie to yourself by deleting your losers, yes, I know some of you do that because I used to do that, right? I would delete my losers and then extend my winners to make my data look better than it actually is. But then trading it wouldn't make sense because it's not the same data, right? It doesn't give me any form of predictability. It's random, right? So you need to be able to be honest with yourself during your journaling and during your ASR. Okay? Because if not, you're going to be wasting your time. Alright? So the ASR, it could be a psychologically inclined based focused ASR, or it could be a strategy based ASR. Meaning you can go across your strategy and then tell yourself how many losers should not have been taken and how many winners should have been taken, and did I follow the plan? Did I follow my plan? Assuming you actually have a plan. Okay, so that brings us to the next one, which is having a plan. Okay, not the next point, but the next mini point within this larger point of ASR. Okay, do you actually have a plan? The ASR can allow you to figure that out. Okay, so the plan can be any strategy, can be any system. Doesn't matter, right? Because every strategy kind of works, kind of doesn't work. Okay, but you need to prove it to yourself that it works through back testing, through forward testing, through live testing. and vice versa, right? So testing it allows you to have predictability of it, okay? But you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to journal, because you have to know what setups and what patterns look the best for your strategy. Now, the strategy is something I won't go very in depth into, because like I said, every strategy kind of works, kind of doesn't work sometimes. And once you trade long enough, you realize that it's the truth, right? So you need to be honest with yourself, because with that honesty, you can get confidence with your strategy is workable in backtests. If a strategy doesn't work when you backtest it, it won't work in live markets, trust me. It just wouldn't work. Okay, so the backtest is literally the first step for you to be able to execute it with confidence. Because how many times have you taken a trade and then your plan was to take it off at 3R, 4R? Why? Maybe because your backtest said so. But because your backtest wasn't honest, you don't trust it enough. What happens? The trade goes into 2R in profit, 3R in profit even, almost close to your TP, and then you're like, yes, it's a winning trade, let's get it, let's go. But then you keep looking at your P&L and the trade, and you're like, oh. And then you realize that, wait a second, I had this exact same scenario play out in the past. This last week, I took a trade, went up close to my TP, and then it reversed to stop me out at break even or even with a full stop. And so you're like, oh crap, oh shit, this is not nice. Let me close that trade right now to secure the profits, but really to relieve myself of the tense of the tense scenario that I'm in right now of not knowing if I should hold the trade or not. So you close it, and you put it down, you're like, oh, I'm now relieved of this tense scenario, let me just go on about my day. And then you look back an hour later, and then your trade hit full TP, and you're like, crap, I should have held it. Should have, would have, could have. There are a lot of things you should have done, such as being honest with your backtesting results. So the first step is to be honest with yourself. The ASR allows you to look at your entire trading structure and system to determine if you are actually being honest with yourself. All right, so you need to do your ASR at least once a week. You could do it on the weekends, which is preferably that time because you're pretty much most free at that time anyway. And your weekdays, if you want to do it, you can do it, but just choose a day where you're not too pent up or too tired or too stressed out to do it, right? You need to have, it has to be a session of clarity. All right, so do your ASR then. All right, a very important quote to leave you with this point is, you don't rise to your level of your dreams. No, you fall to the levels of your systems, which means where your systems are in terms of practicality, in terms of things like structure, it's going to be where you fall to in the end. So if it's very high up, you're going to be very high up. If it's very low, yeah, you're pretty much shit, right? So have that in mind. All right, so ASR structure, that gives you an open mind to it. I'll probably expand on it in some other video, but at this point, just do your ASR. Okay, journal your day, journal your trades, yada yada. All right, second point. I need you to really cut down on the sources of information that you get in trading. Okay, the more time you spend online, on Twitter, on X, on YouTube, LinkedIn maybe even for some people, you are going to self-sabotage your trading. Okay, and you don't even know it yet. Why? Everyone on social media only posts their highlight reel. Okay? They only post their wins. People don't even post bad pictures of themselves. You think they really post their losers? No way. All right, so you need to focus on just a few key sources of information for your trading knowledge. All right, because yes, you're going to be seeing some ads sometimes, right? Because people shoot ads and then they boost their ads, sure. But you need to stay in a box with your current system, with your current strategy to lock in. Because imagine you just took a horrible losing streak and then you go on Twitter and then you see XXX model, YYY model, right? You're gonna be inclined to suddenly, that itch is now coming to me to ask me to look at that person's profile and then look at his model and then all of a sudden adopt the model just because he posted a few wins. The human mind is very, very fragile at certain times, especially when it's under stress. So when you're in a drawdown, you are under a period of stress, which your body and your mind will look for ways to escape from that period of high stress with any reason, even if that reason is fucking stupid, like jumping strategies. It happens very often. It happens very common to a lot of traders. Why? Because people want to escape their periods of high stress. They want to escape the drawdown. And it's very normal. The body chose the flight mode. So your only goal right now is to remove that factor, to stick with your strategy by removing all other or most sources of content. Okay? Because if you have so many models, you have so many strategies, how do you actually focus on your own? It's like you can't be loyal to just one strategy. And if you can't be loyal with it long enough, there won't be any role. You won't get married to it and you won't have a good result. So limit your sources of content online, okay? And you could do that by just limiting your time spent, which is also good because doom scrolling is a big issue. Okay? So limit your sources, don't get confused, don't get caught up in the noise, because once you trade long enough, you start to realize what? You start to realize that, hey, every strategy is pretty much the same, right? Support, resistance, maybe some price action before your area, your POI, you wait for a test, you wait for a breakout, low time frame structure shift, maybe it's a breakout, maybe it's an engulfing candle. It's all the same really once you go full circle long enough. It's really the same. So just hone in on your one system, your one strategy, and then that can only work when you block out all other noises. All right? So those are the two tips that I will leave you with to improve your trading from today onwards. Because really, you just might be self-sabotaging your own trading and you don't even know it yet. All right? See you in the next one. Peace.